Well, good afternoon, my stitchy friends. You have reached my channel, NeedleBugg, and my name is Karen. And on this channel, you will find lots of things about cross stitch and Hardanger embroidery and tips and how-tos and occasional life updates and whatever your heart desires. So today I'm going to demonstrate how to get started on block 2 of the Mary Hickmontt Hardanger sampler. Really is a very easy block. It's not difficult at all. So let's get started. The only stitches we're going to need today are satin stitches, which you will see right here. This is a double chain stitch. Again, not difficult. And eyelets. Now, in previous videos, you would have seen me demonstrate each one of those stitches, but today I'm going to get you started on this block, and we'll be showing you again on how to do them. So, let's start with these satin stitches. Okay, hopefully my pointer is a bit bigger than the last time and you can see it a bit better. Last time I was using I'd had it set up differently. So this time I've changed it and hopefully it works better for all of you. So to start this first set of satin stitches, we're going to, I'll tell you what I do because I think this is an easier way than counting the threads. I look at my four-sided stitch edge, which is this. And from the chart, I can see that my first satin stitch is in line with this first hole for the 4. Okay. And then I can tell that it is also in line. If this is the hole where this leg of the four-sided stitch is, here's the hole. If I go over 2 threads and I'm at the middle of it, that is where this first stitch comes up. Okay, so that saves you a lot of counting. You can count it and know that you're over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 threads from the side, and you're down 1, 2, 3, 4 threads from the top. So even if we count it, and I'm going to do an away thread over here. Well, actually, I'm going to put it down here to start it. Okay, so that I'm going to be stitching over it. So I know that this is 4 threads down, and I'll go over 2, 4, 6, and bring my needle up. And then by counting, I can tell that this stitch is going to go over 6 threads, okay? And it's going to go down at the same place as the upright leg of that four-sided stitch, okay? So that kind of saves you a lot of counting, but we'll count it. 2, 4, 6. And we're going to go down there. Now remember, we don't want to come up here. We want the long stitches on the back. So we're going to come up in the next hole down from where we started. And then we're going to come down 1 thread. Okay? Because this one gets a little shorter. So this one's over 5. The next one, we're going to come up one hole down. And we're going to go over 4 threads. Okay. And this, now we've completed that because there's only three satin stitches in that block. So now we want to go down to this one. So just like you turn when you do your cluster blocks, because essentially these are just modified cluster blocks. Okay. So we want to come up in the shared hole. Okay. And then we're going to go down for 1, 2, 3, 4. And you see that's going to fall in the middle of this 4 threads of that leg. Okay. So then you're going to go over 1, come up, go over 5 threads, oops, and get in the right hole. Okay. And you're going to go back here and come up and go over the 6 threads. And as you see, that is now even with your border 4-sided stitch. Okay. So now you would flip this over, end your threads just like you end on the cluster block. You can also work this thread in at the same time. All right. So that's the first one. Okay. So I'm just going to not work that in at the moment. And I'm going to get some size 12. This was done with size 8 or your thicker thread, whichever that is. The next section, which is the double chain stitch. Okay. And again, I leave a tail that I will work in later. And if you see here, you're going to, your first block, your first satin stitch back at the top goes down. Then there's 1 thread, 2 threads, and then you come up. That's where your chain stitches start. Okay. Now, I am going to, because of the sequence that I like to do, I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to be even with my 4-sided stitch. So I'm going to count over 4 from that block. I'm going to put my tail this way so that I can work over it. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Normally, I would do this as a sewing method, but for today, I'm doing it as stick and stab. So this stitch is on an angle, so it's over 2 and down 2. Okay, you can see that from your chart. So it's over 2 threads, down 2 threads. And we're going to pull that up there. And then I'm going to go straight up a side of where I came up before. And I'm going to do the same thing. Over 2 and down 2. Okay. Then I'm going to come up in the bottom of this one. And when you do this as a sewing method, it gets rhythmic. And I'm going to come down 2 threads. Once you have your first 2 stitches in, it's easy because here's where I went in the last stitch. I'm going to come down 2 from there. Now I'm going to go up in the bottom of this, and I'm going to go over 2 from there. And actually, my friends, I think I started, oh, I didn't. I'm okay. Thought I started down 1. too many threads, but yeah, I'm okay. So you just do this for the number of stitches. Come up here. I don't know. I'm kind of liking this. I might start doing my Hardanger on a little bit of a frame. Okay. Down 2. Up 2. Over 2. So you're kind of always working off that previous stitch. You can pull these, you can let these loose or pull them as tight as you wish. That's totally up to you. And I'm going to work this until I am even with this satin stitch. Which is that one. So there I'm even, but you don't want to forget to do this last stitch. Okay. So all the sections that show the double cable stitch are done exactly like that. All right. Then you can turn it over and work your thread under the, oops, you can't see there. You can work your thread under these stitches, and I just kind of go under where I can, a couple up this line, and work them in and trim it off. I try, and I did no, I did not succeed, but I try to catch my end. I don't know where what that one is. Catch my end when I'm sewing these, so that all I have to do is work in the other one. So I would, in all honesty, work these off or end these off at the end of each section, because you don't want traveled threads. Okay. So then the next section is your eyelets. Actually, hold, rewind. You don't have to end off your thread at this point. So erase what I just said. Here we go again. Karen, you need to look at your chart. Our next stitch is the eyelets, and the eyelets are also going to use your finer thread, the thinner thread. So for me, and on this one, it will be the number 8, the number 12 pearl cotton. So I'm going to do this eyelet stitch right here. So the way I'm going to start and do this is I'm going to count down 4 threads. Okay. I am going to go around this side and this side of my eyelet, and I'm not going to complete the whole thing. I'm going to do just half, and I'm going to work half of these 4 eyelets. And then I get to the 4th one, I'm going to complete that 4th one and then come back down, completing this other half. Okay, so let's look at that. So I'm going to start this by counting down 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, remember, eyelets, you want to open the holes. So I'm going to count in. This is over 2 threads, so I am going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. That should be my center. So I'm going to go down in the center. I'm going to come up next to it, and I'm going to pull. I'm going to go back down in the center. I'm going to come up next to this one, and I'm going to pull. I'm going to go down in the center. I'm going to come, that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm going to come up in the next one and I'm going to pull. I'm going to go down in the center. I'm going to come up in the corner. I'm going to pull. Down in the center. Up one over. I'm going to pull. See how you want to open up the eye. That's why it's called an eyelet. Down in the center. In the next one. And pull. Down in the center. I think I'm catching this thread, but that's okay. In the next one, and pull. I kind of lost count. I think that's my corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's my corner. Because there it's 2 down from, if you're unsure, here's the bottom of the so I'm going to come up here. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold the phone, folks. Something don't look quite right. Whenever you're in doubt, here's a little trick. Flip your work so that you can see the back. And I know we went over 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to do this one yet. 5. And I think somewhere I miscounted here. All right. Okay. So now to go up, you're gonna, yeah, somewhere in this stitch I missed. I see what I did. See what I did? I came out 1 too far here. So that means I started this wrong. But we're just going to go with how to do the eyelets here. So you're going to come up then. So make sure you're working with your chart correctly, not like me. This for me is just a demo piece. I will show you my real piece in a second. One, two. Yeah, I'm kind of fixing it here. Down in the center. Okay, and we are back. It was an easy fix. What I had done wrong was go over 1 too many threads here so that I was starting out here, which, as you can see, threw the whole thing off, which just goes to the point that Hardanger is a very precise form of needlework. So with that, we are now ready to start the eyelet row. So what I did was I counted down 1, 2, 3, 4 threads from the top of this double cable stitch. And then I'm going to over 2, up 2. So this now becomes the center of my eyelet. And if you look at your reference points, the center of your eyelet is in line with the junction of these 2 stitches. And I went over 1 too many. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Here we go. So 1, center is here. Okay. at the junction of these two stitches. All right, so down in the center, up one over, so that's one. Down in the center, up one, over, that's two. Oops, sorry about that. I kind of moved my frame here. I'm trying not to be so wobbly. Okay, down in the center, one more thread, pull, down in the center. Now you're going to share the hole with the last cable stitch. Okay, so that's, pull that one tight. So that's our 5. Now we're going to work across the top. So there's 1, find the hole here. There we go. Down in the center. That was 2. This one makes 3. This one makes 4. And this next one will make 5. Okay. Now, do you see we are equal with this junction here? Okay. So we're going to go down in the center to complete that stitch. And then we are going to come up and share that hole. Now you're going to repeat that. Look how nice that's getting. I just recently, in all honesty, started doing my eyelets this way, and I am so glad I did. Yeah. So the next one, again, you're going to go down in the center. So you're going to find your center of that eyelet, which is directly across from this shared. So that's your reference point. Here's your shared. Here's your center. It's 4 threads. So you're going to go down in the center. You're going to come up 1 thread away, and you're going to pull down in the center, up 1 thread away. So that's 2 completed. This makes 3, up 1 thread away. That makes 4. And this one makes your 5th. So that's going to share with those 2 stitches. Pull it tight, and then you're going to work across the top. So that was 1. This is 2. This is 3. And you pull these really tight. This is 4. I mean, don't be afraid to pull, because the whole point of eyelets is to create a hole. This is 5. Now you're going to do the same thing again. Okay, so you're going to share the hole. Okay. I'm going to pull my light over here just a little bit more, because I'm having a little trouble seeing. So we're going to find the center. So that's 1. This is 2. This is 3. Like I said, don't be afraid to pull. The whole point of an eyelet is to make a hole. 4. That's 5. So now we're going to come across the top. 1. 2. And again, we're even with the cable. And now we're going to do the last half. So we're going to come up in this shared hole. We're going to share that, find the center. Now, as you notice also, this way you do not have to worry about your thread traveling, that it is going to show through that hole that you just made. Which, the way I initially showed in my videos, you had to be very, very careful of that. Okay, I didn't work in my end, so that thread's getting a little loose. Okay. But again, okay, now we've completed the top half of this eyelet. So now our job is to go back down. Okay, so very simple. You're just going to do the other half. So you're going to go right back down. And again, pull your eyelets, pull it tight. Don't be afraid. I mean, you can make them as tight or as loose as you wish. I just personally like to see that I have created a very nice hole. I'm going to run out of thread here soon, but hopefully I can get you through the next one. And then it's just a matter of repeating it. Okay. So once you get back, there we go. And this method also avoids having, sometimes when you do each eyelet individually, you get a little, I don't know, a little bump where it's like not even. This avoids that. So now we're back where we shared a hole here. Okay. So we're not going to share that hole, but we're going to come up in this one next. Okay. See how nice? Isn't that pretty? So now we're going to go in here. And we're going to go here. And you're just going to work your way right back down. Like I said, I don't know that I'll have enough to do all of these. I think I'm at the corner. Yes, I am. And I'm going to go around to here. Okay. And you're just going to, like I said, I'm running out of thread. So, and when you're done with this, you're just going to flip it over and work your end in just like you just run under some threads like you did any other eyelet stitches before. Yes, it's a little hard to get under them, but I would probably maybe go between this thread between them and end off in here. So just find a place to end your threads. Your next section, and like I said, I'm not going to end mine at this point. Your next section here is going to be, again, a row of the double cable stitch. So what you did here, you're going to repeat here. And then your next is going to be your altered cluster blocks, which are done just the same way as these, only there's more of them. And you start out with the 3, and then it's 5/4 fabric threads all the way down. And that really is the simpleness of block 2. I have it done on mine, but now I want to show you something which I didn't realize until someone pointed out to me. And I just showed you how to stitch this the way I stitched this. However, hold on here. Gotta move this a bit. Hold on. Here we go. Okay. Do you see? Let me hold on. Background, Windows capture. Here we go. Okay. Do you see this pink area? Okay. Do you notice, and I moved it that you can't see it now. Okay. Do you notice that here it says top? Do you see the rotation in which I stitched it? And I started in the corner with this. Okay. You can stitch it this way because you can start in any corner. However, the chart correctly wants you to stitch it. Oh, wait. Oh, no, wait. I have to put, hold on a second. I have to put my lock screen on. Hold on. Hold the phone a minute. Hold the phone. Lock my screen. Okay. Oh, there you see my grandson. Isn't he not adorbs? Okay, let me get the, all right. Here we go. So this, oh, where'd it go here? Okay, this is the rotation in which I stitched it. Can see that? Now, if you follow this pink line. So this is the join, the overlap for the chart. This is the top of the chart. So what they wanted you to do was rotate your chart in this fashion. Okay, why did my chart not rotate? Hold the phone here. Wait, what if I do this? Okay, there we go. What they wanted you to do was hold your chart in this way. And if you do that and you follow the sequence of it charted and you start in the corner, you would be starting with this center row of cluster blocks. Okay, you would be starting the same way that we started for the corner, only instead of only doing those 2 half blocks, you would continue down and do all of the sides and then come back up and do all of that side. All right, you can do it either way. So all it would do is change the orientation of the block. So let's look at mine here. So this, let me get it here. Okay, I'm trying to get you in the camera right here. This is the orientation of which I stitched mine. Okay, so you can see here's block number 1, here's block number 2. So I have mine going the direction that I just showed you how to stitch. What they wanted you to do is flip it this way so that the direction of your block would be like this. Okay, there we go. So the direction of your block would look like this on your finished sampler instead of, okay, so block number 1 would be over here. This would be block number 2 in this direction. Mine, since I did not rotate my chart, I have block number 1 here and block number 2, the angle is different. Okay, do you see that? So it's up to you. Whichever way you stitch it, it's fine. It's just the direction of your rows, columns, or whatever you want to call them is going to be different. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The whole point of this is to learn the stitches. Okay. Now, as you see on this one, I'm not going to, but I did my eyelets one at a time. I am so thankful that I changed my mind about that and will now do them half and come back and do the other half. But I'm not going to take these out and redo them because did you ever try and rip eyelets? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. So this is mine, and my next, I'm going to stitch the 3rd block next. This, as I said, is just a demonstration piece. However, that being said, I'm thinking about, this is the block that will be next. I'm seriously considering doing this a little bit differently. Instead of coming on and demonstrating one block, waiting 2 weeks, demonstrating another block, I think what I am going to do, and if you folks would rather it be done the way I'm doing it now, please let me know that. But what I think I want to do is, as I stitch my blocks on this piece of fabric, on my, what's going to be my piece, I am just going to record segments of my stitching this. And I will explain it as I go and tell you what I'm doing and how I got to that point to stitch and do all of that. But I think I would rather just really do it as we're stitching along together. Okay, because the stitches in this, I mean, if you look, this block number 3 is really basically nothing more than ships and satin stitch and cluster blocks that we have already done. Okay. If we move on to the next set of blocks, okay, it's really much the same of everything we have already done. You have your double chain, or in fact, here's one where it's 3 rows of double chain stitch. And I will show you how to do that. But it's ships, it's cluster blocks, it's eyelets, it's double chain stitch. Yeah, I would be just repeating myself if I do each block individually. So I think I would rather, as I am stitching it, especially the times I am starting a block, recording and get it that so that you know where to start and how to start and get used to the counting. And then we're just going to stitch this together. And every time I stitch on it, I will record something, or I will record my time that I'm stitching on it. So I really think that's the way I want to go. I want to go for this, because I don't want to be so redundant where I'm demonstrating the same things all the time. This really is a sampler that, now that I have shown you the basic stitches that it's using, you can move on and stitch at your own pace. Because I've shown you, we've done ships, we've done satin stitches, we've done cluster blocks, we've done double chain, again, ships, cluster blocks. I would just be repeating. So I think that's what I'm going to do from this point forward, is just record as I'm stitching it. And it may be once every week, it may be once every 2 weeks. I will put videos up as I work on it. I will absolutely make it a point not to put it in the when I get to it pile. No, I will come up with a day of the week where we will work on this. We'll work on this together. Okay. But as far as demonstrating stitches and all of that, I think I've pretty well covered what stitches that this sampler requires. And it really is not a difficult sampler. You know that you can message me or email me at any point in time for assistance on how to do this. Yeah, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. I will gladly answer your questions, and yeah, we'll get through it together. Yeah, we'll still do, I will work on it at a pace that works for me, and you guys can work on it at your own pace. If you want to work ahead, go right ahead. If you want to just keep up with where I am, that's fine too. So whatever works for you. So with that, my friends, I think we're going to call this video a wrap. I hope you have found it helpful. I hope you are enjoying this sampler, because I know I am. Yeah, it's kind of, oh God, should I even go here? it's kind of bringing back the itch to do more Hardanger and maybe cut into my cross stitch time. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Maybe this sampler will just satisfy the itch for the time being. So with that, my friends, I wish you all a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Oops.